Okay, welcome to this video. Like I said in my previous video, if you never watched it, you can check it out. I said in this video we are going to look at how booleans can be used together with if statements. As you can see on your screen, this is where I stopped in my previous video, where I just made a simple introduction to booleans. So in this video I'm going to show you how boolean and if statements can be used together. Just a simple introduction. So what I'm going to do, because I don't want congestion, I'm going to create a new class. So come to new Java class. I'm going to call my new class class E. Class E. So I can say my class E has been created. Of course, put out the main method. Then, as I said, we are going to look at boolean and if statement, how they can be used together. So as I said, a boolean, so we shall assign something to the boolean and then we shall print it out, and after printing it out, then we shall also use the if statement on it. So an example, I'm going to say boolean. Let me just continue the previous example I used is student. Let me assign that you are a student, so you say true if you are a student. And I'm also going to use another example, boolean is, let me say, is cheap equals, let me say this one is false because I want a variation between the two. So let's print out SOUT, enter. Let's print out is student. So it has printed out, our output is true. That's because we assigned true to is student. Now if we are to change that and change it to is cheap, I guess you already know what to print out, but just to confirm. As you can see, it will print out false because we assigned false here to is cheap. So that's a simple just printing them out. So let me just remove this. So now going to if statements. So using if statements, if usually goes with else. If else, so yeah, if the mean like if that condition is approved or is that condition exists, then it will print out what is in the if. Else, if that condition is not approved, it will print out what is in the else. Just like that. Let's see it more in practical. It will be easy to understand. So if you say if, open brackets, if is student, that means if you are a student, I would want it to print out, shall open curly bracket, I would want it to print out you are a student. That's if you're a student, will print that out. Let's run our code and see. See, you are a student. That's because is student here was assigned true. Let's say if you're not a student, else, that's where else comes in. Else, open the curly brackets, else you are not a student. You are not a student. So if we come here and change this to false, we change this to false. Let's see what it prints out. See, it will print out you are not a student. That's because we assigned here false to a student. That means you are not a student. It will print out you are not a student. It will print out the else part. It will print out this else part. You are not a student. Yeah, that's the simplest way booleans can be used together with if statements. Now, even if we are to use our second example, let's use our second example is cheap. Just to confirm, is cheap. Let me say the product. If something is cheap, then you say the product. Let me say the product is achievable. Does that make sense? I think here the product is attainable, achievable. Any just means like you can get the product. So let's say the product is attainable. Product is attainable. Then here the product is not. Product is not. I'm just going through the long way so that it's best to understand. The product is not attainable. So let's run our code and see what we get. To say the product is not attainable, that's because we assigned here false to the is cheap. If we change here to true, if we change this to true, we change it to true, and we run our code. Now it will say the product is attainable. That means the product is cheap. Yeah. So this has been a simple introduction. So yeah, it's the simplest, very simple like that. Just more practice, more research. Yeah, then you can understand it more. In case you have any points you have not understood, you can leave a comment. And I'm very sure I'll answer you, because yeah, I answer all my comments. So yeah, like the video, subscribe. I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for listening.